Hello, Peter.
Hi. I thought I'm going to do it in the forest. And then I forgot, when I walked, I forgot the stick to hold it with. But I'll manage. But you started to record it directly.
Yeah, I'm recording all of it. I can cut it out, I will edit it.
Okay, so when I swear...
Are you ready to go?
Yeah, sure. Otherwise my arm will fall off.
So hello again, Peter. Welcome to Ulis Talks. Great to have you here.
Thank you very much. Great to meet you again. Long time no see.
And it's amazing because we have a very special topic. It's about neurodiversity. And I'm really curious to hear your story. And surprise, surprise, I'm catching you in your lunch break in the forest. Is that actually a very typical trait for neurodivergence?
No, I wouldn't say that, but it's very good for you to get, in general, for everyone, to get out in nature. So that's more in general, but might be for diversity as well. I don't know, but it's not typical that I go here, but it's very good to get in nature in general for everyone.
Yeah, I totally agree. And now you mentioned a very interesting word. You said typical, because that's about neurodiversity, right? It's about neurotypical people and neurodivergent people, and about leadership. This is about Peter's experiences with neurodivergence in corporate environments. Is that your story?
Yeah, some of my, to take a step back, is I got my ADHD diagnosis when I was 43. So in some way, my life kind of started then from being very hypertension and headaches, and had to do surgery for double vision, etc., and tired all the time. So somewhat 180 degrees when I was 43 years old. I started to land, and I could be sort of present in life mentally and also more physically as well. So, of course, that's a huge turning point in my life. But during that time and also recently, I still being what we call neurodivergent compared to most of the people being typical or normal, if you would like to say that. And I've learned quite a few things during the years working at workplaces who in various ways consider these differences, because there are stuff to think of, but once you think of those things when working with people with ADHD, being autistic, etc., there's a massive amount of both increased productivity, efficiency, but also quality of life. So that's the angle. So more of both self-leadership in general, but also leadership when you're a leader, having direct reports who's being neurodiverse. Yeah.
So what happened at your workplace once you got the diagnosis and once you basically broke through and maybe even broke free understanding about ADHD, about the positive sides and potentially the negative sides? What happened at your workplace?
First of all, before that, of course, happened a lot for me personally to understand why I have behaved in a certain way during 43 years. And now so it was a big change for me, first of all, but then people around me notice a huge difference as well. I still have those aspects of having ADHD, of course, but a huge difference, being way more present. That's the biggest thing, of course, privately, but also at the workplace. So that would be the biggest difference, being more present in meetings, not interrupting so much, but being more calm and present. That would be biggest difference.
Okay. What would you consider to be the superpower in ADHD?
The ability to think bigger and to think the classical term outside the box. Now, we discussed that last time we met, that I will go one further to that, but and I will come to that shortly. So the reason why you have that ability in general, people ADHD, is because you remove some filters that a never typical person have. So in a non-medical explanation is that you remove some filters, and therefore you open up to way more possibilities. You connect dots that seem very crazy, like how that thing here connects to that part. You see those patterns, and it's a medical connection to that as well. But that would be the number one. But also a second part that's coming more research around is being hypersensitive, which sounds like you're crazy, but that's also to the ability to read the room. Once you're present, the ability to read the room comes up more and more of a strength. The short answer is around creativity and thinking outside the box. At that same time, just continue on that. When it comes to leadership and working with a person, like, for example, with ADHD, I would call it, I haven't trademarked that phrase yet, but thinking between the boxes, because just thinking outside the box, I go bananas. Or as people, you go off and do something that's not work related. And therefore having an outer box outside the box, so you keep it inside the big box, so to speak. It might become a little bit hard to explain, but I think you understand the concept that you need to have, you embrace the ability of a person with ADHD to think outside the box, but there's a big tendency to go bananas way out of the bigger box, so to speak. So that's a leadership skill to harness, so to speak, the creativity, but still staying with like, okay, this needs to be done. Be creative within this part. And also, as we discussed last time, common research now, and I think it's Michael Gladwell, so that creativity with boundaries can create even bigger creativity. So that's some, if you want to read, that's an interesting read around that, because it sounds counterintuitive. Why should you put a barrier or limits on creativity? And it turns out once you have those, it becomes more clear what's the goal at. So I don't know, there was a long answer to your question, but the biggest power is the creativity part. And from a leadership perspective, embrace that creativity, but also some boundaries and limitations on it. Was that clear or was that unclear, Uli?
I think that was very, very clear. The follow-up question I have is, in the corporate environments you have been working and you are working in now, do you find leaders who actually understand and recognize those superpowers and even support them?
Yeah, I'm very fortunate to work at the place at Google that really embrace neurodiversity, and I'd also be part of programs internally within Google for embracing and seeing the potential and also the challenges, because it's very easy to forget all the challenges. It's easy to go out and say ADHD and neurodiversity is a superpower. Yes, it can be, but we need to have a very, very balanced view, because on the other side, there's a risk of a lot of terrible stuff like addiction and so on. But to come back to your question, yes, 100%. There's a big understanding, they embrace it, and then they understand. And also the challenges that, okay, you need somewhat tighter check-ins. In order to stay in the big box, it need to be somewhat a little bit more check-ins every week. And you can say that, okay, as a leader, do I have a 5-year-old in my team? Yeah, somewhat. But on the other hand, if done properly and with the right type of leadership, you can get more out of and leverage the power of that when you do the leadership part correctly. Or I'm optimal. That was a long answer again, Uli, but the short answer is yes, I'm very fortunate to be at the workplace, Google in this case, that really embrace that, yes.
That's amazing. And it's the first time I hear about that in a corporate environment, I must say. So how come these leaders actually recognize, understand, and embrace neurodivergence in their leadership style or in leading people with ADHD, as an example? So how come they succeed in doing that? Do they learn it? Is it part of their sensitivity in dealing with people, or what is it?
That's a really good question. It's like what we say in Swedish, an icke-fråga. It's like it's just there. Like we're working with diversity inclusion, and neurodiversity and being different is part of inclusion. Mm-hmm. And just part of, that's a really good, it's just part of the ways of working, part of culture. And of course that comes from above, obviously, that the top management say that this is a non-negotiable, or I don't know the translation of an icke-fråga to English, but that's like, this is the way we work. We embrace everyone, we see, and this is a reminder, as well as you see the strength, like increased in creativity. Also consider and see the challenges of like having control and being up to in all the details and stuff. So it's both ways. It's not just to hallelujah see all the positive things. It's also see the challenges that go. So for example, within neurodiversity, especially with people who are autistic, there might be some challenge when it comes to the social interactions. Okay, let's embrace that and support that. So not the really long answer, but it's just there. It's just part of culture, I would say. That said, everything can be better, of course, but the foundation is there, absolutely.
Thank you for sharing your story and for being open and transparent, and sharing also that you find this workplace at Google. I think it's a wonderful story that others should be listening to carefully. And since we are already at the end of this talk, Peter, one more last question. Imagine somebody working at a random workplace, being neurodivergent, or seeing neurodivergent people in their teams. What would be your suggestion? How to raise this topic? How to create some awareness within the direct workspace and working relationship in the company somebody might work in?
Step one would be to do the homework, to look for more information. Not only the challenge it, because it's get a bad cling to it, what you say, neurodiversity. But if you look at many, especially entrepreneurs, there's a long list of neurodiverse leaders. Everything from, Richard Branson, and what's the podcast is, Day of CEO, etc. To go and discuss internally, these are the amazing qualities and attributes of people with neurodiversity. Do we not want to leverage all this talent, all this strength? Talking about like the concept of strength funder, there's a huge potential there. Now, on the other hand, there's some challenges as well. Absolutely. Don't forget them. Again, key point being having a balanced view on neurodiversity. But to respond to a question, step one, do some homework, read up on the question, and also come with a list of if you go online, there's a lot of examples where companies, not only Google, Microsoft, etc., embrace neurodiversity and see the huge potential. So do the homework, present it internally, the huge positive aspects and the capabilities that are there. And again, for the third time, I remind that having a balanced view, of course, but to see the challenge as well. But that would be my recommendation. That would be my strong recommendation.
Thank you very much, Peter, once again. And I really hope that we have given some inspiration to many people about this topic.
Yeah.
Thank you, and hopefully meet soon again.
See you. I hope to meet you soon again. Yeah.